There is a time in a parent's life where they are at a crossroad. Do you let your child go out into the community with their only chaperone being a child roughly their age? Or do you tell your child no, that they can't go without an adult? This is the dilemma that reared its head for the parents of a 9-year-old girl in 1988. Welcome to another installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. In this installment, we will be hearing about the case of Michaela Garecht. This case first aired on the January 18th, 1989 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Even though I'm not a parent, this case makes me want to reconsider ever letting my children go out without having an adult with them. As of recording this installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries, Michaela Garecht has been missing for 36 years, 4 months, and 20 days. All it takes is one person to help solve this case. It is now time for the case information. The name was Michaela Garecht. Her full name was Michaela Joy Garecht. She went by the nickname of Kayla. Her date of birth was January 24th, 1979. Her age as of the televised airing, she would have been 9 years old. Her age as of recording Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries, she would have been 46 years old. The location was Hayward, California. The case classification is technically wanted. However, I feel that this case should have been labeled as missing persons because they don't have a suspect yet, per se. They have a person of interest, but no real suspects. And because I think it should be labeled as missing persons. But that's just me. Michaela has been missing since Saturday, November 19th, 1988. Michaela was 9 years old when she went missing. Is this case on YouTube? Yes, you can actually find this case that's part of Season 1, Episode 14 of the Unsolved Mysteries uploads. The original televised episode air date was January 18th, 1989. The case status currently sits at unresolved. My personal opinion is that Michaela Garecht is sadly deceased due to the length of time that Michaela has been missing. David Misch is a person of interest. Now, I have the case promo ready for all of you guys. So basically, this is going to give you a hint of what you can expect if you were to go and watch the video on YouTube. I will post a link to the video in the description below. Here is the promo.
In November, Michaela Garecht was abducted outside a local store. Her friend gave police an eyewitness description of the kidnapper.
With that out of the way, when I return after these commercials, I will be reading the case of Michaela Garecht.
Think we'll win? Maybe, if the champ doesn't show up.
Yeah, Jimmy Joe.
Lightning, I'm sure to win with my Kraft thick and spicy. Just think, who can compete with a sauce so thick it stands up to my drumstick test? Who can compete with spices you can see and taste? Hi, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Kraft thick and spicy barbecue sauce. So thick and spicy, there's no contest.
Welcome back to the show. If you are new to this series, let me introduce myself. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse, and I have been a lifelong fan of Unsolved Mysteries. Basically, the purpose of this program that I like to do, it's basically just to kind of keep the light shined on some of these cases that have not been solved. And if the case has been solved, then basically just give you my thoughts about what it is that happened and everything. And like, just as like a third person, just talking about what I think, yeah. So, with all that said, let's get to the case viewing, shall we? So let's do this. Hold on, I'm getting everything set up. I should have had it set up, but I forgot to do it until right now. So, there we go. There we go. So let's do this. And episode 14, Michaela Garecht. So basically, I will go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki and I will read to you the case that, that this episode or this installment revolves around. And I may take a break every now and then to take a drink or give you my thoughts. So let's do this. There we go. So this case is in the California 1988 abductions. It's also part of disappearances, bicycle-related cases, AMW cases, lifetime cases, and unresolved. Michaela Garecht. Real name is Michaela Joy Garecht. She went by the nickname of Kayla. Location was Hayward, California. The date was November 19th, 1988. Bio. Occupation. Michaela was a student. Date of birth was January 24th, 1979. She was 4'8", 75 pounds. She was single. Characteristics. White female with blonde hair and blue eyes. She sometimes wears her hair in a ponytail. Her ears are prominent and pierced. Her eyes slant slightly downward. Her teeth were slightly mottled at the time. She was wearing a white t-shirt that said the word Metro on the front and images of people imprinted on its midsection. Denim jeans rolled above her knees, flesh-colored nylon stockings, white anklet socks, black Mary Jane shoes, and 3-inch pearl or white-colored feather-shaped earrings. As an adult, she may be tall, need glasses, and have darkened hair. I think I may be wrong because I've covered a lot of these cases throughout the years. I think this may be the first time I've read a characteristics section that was as detailed as this. Holy shit, this was pretty detailed. Case. 9-year-old Michaela Garecht is the daughter of Rod and Sharon Garecht. On Saturday, November 19th, 1988, the first day of Thanksgiving break. Oh, jeez. What a way to bring in Thanksgiving. I mean, like, Thanksgiving is supposed to be a joyous time. You're supposed to spend it with your family. And you have a child who's missing. Oh, my God. I cannot think about what that'd be like. She and her best friend, Katrina Rodriguez, were given $5 by Katrina's father to spend at the Rainbow Market. Located at 32575 Mission Boulevard in Hayward, California, a suburb of Oakland. Okay, so I'm going to mark this right here. There's something I always want to try to do if I see something that interests me. And that is look up items that we see on that I read to you on Unsolved Mystery, these wiki. So let's see here. Rainbow Market 32575 Mission Boulevard in Hayward, California. Okay. I'm kind of curious if that's actually still there, you know? Okay, let's do this. There you go. Okay. At 10 a.m., the two girls from Michelle's house on Cornell Avenue two girls rode from Cornell's rode from Michaela's house on Cornell Avenue to the market on their scooters. Okay, maybe I'm just analyzing this too much, and that's a possibility. I do that sometimes. I'm a little bit confused here. So it says she and her best friend Katrina Rodriguez were given $5 by Katrina's father to spend at the Rainbow Market, located at that location. The two girls rode from Michaela's house on Cornell Avenue to the market on their scooters. My question is that Because, like I said, maybe I'm overanalyzing it. What were they given the money prior to going to, like, were they at Katrina's house first? The father gave the girls the money. They then went to Michaela's house, and then they got on the scooters and went to the market. Or was the father already at Katrina's father visiting Michaela's house? I'm just kind of confused about all this. I'm kind of confused by all of this. But either way, apparently it sounds like the parents may have known. Well, they probably already knew where Michaela was going, and I can't tell parents, especially since I'm not a parent. I can't tell people how to raise their kids. It's not my place. But I can't help but wonder if I had a daughter. If I had a daughter, would I allow my daughter to go with somebody roughly their same age? And I'm not sure I actually could. I'm not sure I could actually do that. The friend was slightly older than Michaela. If you watch the video, I think they said that the friend was like 13, possibly. But still, I feel too. Like it's not safe enough, and that I'm just not sure I could let my daughter do that. If she wants to have her friend come with her, that'd be fine. But I would have to tell my daughter, I'm sorry, either me or my daughter's mother. One of her parents would have to go with her. I just cannot stand by and let my 9-year-old daughter go to a neighborhood market. Let's see, does it say how far it was from her house? I don't think I don't think I see it. But anyway, I just do not feel comfortable letting my child go that far away without a parent being there. If Michaela was like 15, 16, okay, she's a little bit older, but 9 years old, yeah, that's definitely not something I would feel comfortable doing. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I wrote from the scooters. Sharon remembers Michaela coming in and asking if she go to the market. Okay, so Sharon was reluctant to let her go at first, but she gave in when Michaela insisted. And this is where, once again, I'm saying a lot, even though I'm not a parent. But you have to, at least my view is sometimes you have to you have to put your foot down. Yes, they're not going to be happy, but they don't realize you're thinking in their best interest. If Michaela's my daughter, I'd be like, no, I'm sorry, no, honey, you cannot go by yourself or with your friend. I could go with you, and then if she still said no, I'd be like, I'm sorry, those are my conditions. Either you and Katrina can go to the store, or you'll have to wait until your mom gets home. But I could not let her go. As even a form of compromise. Even as a form of compromise, I would go with her. But if she really wants to have that kind of like that freedom and independence and not having her dad with her every minute in the store, I would tell her, you know what? I'm proud of you for, agreeing for me to come with you. I will stay outside. I will stay outside where the scooters are. And you and Katrina can go shopping. And then when you're done, I'll be here waiting for you. Because I can guarantee you that nobody's going to try picking on trying to kidnap a 400-pound pissed off white guy. It's not going to fucking happen. But, yeah, ugh. It's that whole question of like, when is it appropriate to let your child leave that, let your child basically spread their wings and start to do, things independently, and when should you still kind of clamp down for their safety? Okay. Michaela jumped up and down and said, "Oh, good, oh, goody goody." She and Katrina went to the market, and that was the last time her family ever saw her. Let's see here. Although Michaela's house was only 4 blocks, see that 4 blocks. A lot can happen within 4 blocks. Although Michaela's house was only 4 blocks from the market, her parents insisted a friend accompany her. Yeah, if they literally allowed a 9-year-old to go totally unaccompanied, I would be really kind of hesitant. Hold on, let me actually zoom in a little bit. Can I zoom in a little bit more? Hold on, let me. Okay. See, sometimes that's the downside when you kind of zooming in and everything. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Rod says, let's see here. Rod says that she usually made a trip to the store about once a day. Wow, she must have been really, well known over there. She and Katrina would always take their scooters with them. He says that they never let her go to the store by herself. Good. They did something correct. Good job. She always had to be with somebody, and that's what I would do. I would, like I said, dad, mother, older brother or sister, but never alone, especially at 9 years of age. When Michaela and Katrina arrived at the market, they left their scooters next to the front entrance. After making their purchases, they left the market and began to walk home. I think this is a mistake because the video they left the store and they were going to go get on their scooters. But anyway. They then realized they had forgotten their scooters and turned around. How do you forget your? Michaela's scooter was missing, or not missing. It was moved to the location where she was grabbed. But literally, their scooters. Let's see. They left their scooters next to the front entrance. How do you forget? Okay, I'm just gonna keep reading. Let's see here. But when they went to the spot where they left their scooters, Michaela's was gone. After looking around for a bit, Michaela noticed it. It was in the parking lot next to a car. At about 10:15 a.m., Michaela went to retrieve it. As Michaela bent down to pick up her scooter, a man stepped out of the car, opened the back door, and grabbed her from behind at the waist. He threw her into the back seat as she screamed. He then got back into the car and drove off. Katrina called out her name, but it was too late. The car was last seen going south on Mission Boulevard toward Union City, California. Union City, California. That sounds like, I think I've heard of that Union City. That sounds familiar. Anyway. Katrina went back into the market and told the clerk what happened. The clerk immediately called the police. Michaela's family was notified soon after. An extensive search began for her and her abductor. She was featured on milk cartons, billboards, and flyers nationwide. Detective Ken Gross of the Hayward Police Department says the biggest thing that makes Michaela's case a bit different than most is that they have a description of the abductor and his vehicle, and they have a witness to the abduction. Katrina was shown mug shots of possible suspects, but was unable to identify Michaela's abductor. She was, however, able to assist a police artist in creating a composite of him. Authorities believe that he purposely moved Michaela's scooter out of the parking lot while they were inside the market so that it would be easier for him to abduct her. Yeah, it was basically, I like to think of it like as a trap. You gotta have, like, let's say you're trapping rabbits, for example. You have, a rabbit's not just gonna wander into the trap. it needs to have something there for that trap to be effective. Nuts, berries, vegetables, something that would attract a rabbit. In this case, he was trying to get a child. Take the child's toy, the scooter for in this example, put it there. Put it next to the car. He knew that the girl would come and get it. Boom, trap is sprung, grab the girl, and flee. I know it's a pretty basic explanation, but that's basically what it was. He set a trap. Sadly, Michaela fell in that trap. If it was me, now I talk a lot about like what I would do if I was in that position, like if I was her father or whatever. If I came with my daughter and her friend, went to the store with my daughter and her friend, and we came out and we noticed that one of the scooters was gone, I would literally tell the two kids, wait right here. I'll walk over there and I'll get it. If you see anybody that looks weird or anybody starts walking towards you, you scream. I'll turn around and I'll beat the shit out of them. Something along that line. But since, it was just Michaela and her friend, they didn't have somebody there that would think ahead like that. Because sadly, that's the way kids are. They don't think long term. That's with me working in the education field for as long as I have, just over 5 years now. You start to learn, especially with students who have severe learning difficulties. They cannot think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. That is my job. That is my job, to be able to think ahead far enough to help my students. It's just the way that a child's brain is wired. They're not wired in that configuration yet, basically, to see, the long-ranging picture and to analyze everything. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so Detective Gross says they may need the suspect's name and place. Hold on. Says that they need a suspect's name and place where they can find him or Michaela. He says that the tipster can remain anonymous. All they need is the tip to act on. Sharon says that life has not been the same and will not be the same again until Michaela comes home. She wants to tell Michaela to hang in there, be strong, and never lose hope. She is certain that they will find her. Sadly, 1983, there have been 3 other abductions of young girls in the San Francisco Bay Area. Hold on, let me scroll up. Sadly, 2 of those girls have been found dead. One of them was 5-year-old Angela Begay, who disappeared from her apartment complex in Antioch, California on November 19th, 1983, exactly 5 years before Michaela's abduction. I think they meant to say exactly. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Let's see here. A few days later, she was found murdered. And this is why I always say you have to keep an eye on your child, especially when they're younger. The younger they are, you need to have more eyes. As many eyes on your kid as possible. Another child, 7-year-old Amber Schwartz Garcia, is still missing. She was abducted on June 3rd, 1988, while she played in her front yard in Pinole, California. Due to the close proximity of the cases, authorities believe that they may be connected. They could be. There could have been a serial abductor out there, a serial abductor / killer. Suspects. Katrina described the abductor as a white male, age 18 to early 20s, in 1988. Approximately 6 foot, 180 pounds with shoulder-length, dirty blonde hair. A slender build, a severe pockmarked or pimpled face, and fox-like blue eyes. I never heard of eyes being referred to as like fox-like. That's a good description. Good description right there. He was wearing a white T-shirt. The abductor's car was an older American full-size four-door sedan. It appeared to be either brown, cream, tan, gold, or tannish gold. It may have had cement splatters on the side and light. Cement splatters on the cement. And, okay, I don't know what. Maybe it's like an accessory for cars or whatever. On the sides and lights set into the rear bumper. It appeared to be in poor run-down condition. Its front bumper was battered, and it may have previously been in an accident. It was reported that at least 4 abduction attempts have taken place in Hayward since June 1988. However, it is not known if these incidents are related to Michaela's abduction. Tim Bindner is considered a person of interest in Michaela's case. Investigators believe he was in the vicinity of the market that day. He approached the family following her disappearance, offering assistance in searching for her. He is also considered a person of interest. Let's see here. Where is person of interest in the cases of several other missing girls, including Amber? He repeatedly inserted himself into the search for Amber. However, he has never been charged in any case and maintains his innocence. Well, that guy sounds creepy as fuck if you ask me. Extra notes. This case first aired on the January 18th, 1989 episode. It was originally supposed to air on the December 21st, 1988 episode, but it was delayed. It was also featured in a segment about Amber, which aired June 13th, 2002, on the June 13th, 2002 episode. It also briefly mentioned Eileen Michelhoff, Nikki Campbell, and Bender or Bindner. It was also profiled on America's Most Wanted, Dateline, The Maury Povich Show, Larry King Live, and Nancy Grace. It was the first missing child case to be featured on America's Most Wanted. Ooh, wow, I didn't know that. A week before she was kidnapped, Michaela wrote a poem about people who were kidnapped and held captive. Sharon believes that Michaela had a premonition about her abduction. That's kind of, I don't think they mentioned that in the video. That's kind of sad. The police initially sent out an inaccurate description of Michaela's abductor. During her call to the police, the clerk described the customer who she incorrectly thought was the abductor. Wait. The clerk described a customer who she... Okay. The police released the correct description 2 days later. See, that's the problem. That was 48 hours. A lot can happen in 48 hours. And the fact that they were going off of wrong information at that time, it just made the situation even worse. Following Michaela's abduction, her parents connected with the parents of other missing children, including David Bauer, Michelle Henley, Polly Klaas, and Amber and Eileen. 1 week after Michaela's abduction, San Francisco 49ers football player Joe Montana made a plea for her abductor to release her. Call me cynical, and a lot of people do. A lot of people will also call me an asshole. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that criminals have a heart, basically. You can try and plead, you can try and reason, you can try and bargain, you can try and explain. Criminals will do what criminals want to do. Do you think that some fucking football player is going to go on NBC, CBS, ABC, or whatever? Please, you've got to return this child. This child has a family. Do you think the abductor, if he is watching, you think he gives a flying fuck? No, criminals are criminals. They do what they want to do. There is no there is no trying to reason with these people. I can understand why they want to do that. They're thinking that possibly, you could tug at their heartstrings. They don't fucking care. If they cared, they would not target your kids. They would not target your kids. Some sources say that the market was 2 blocks from Michaela's home, that Katrina's scooter was the one that was moved, and that the abductor talked to Michaela and Katrina, and that Katrina's name was spelled Katrina, Katarina. Results: unresolved. Shortly after Michaela's story aired, 2 other young girls went missing in the San Francisco Bay Area. On June 30th, 1989, 13-year-old Eileen Michalhoff vanished while walking home from school in Dublin, California. On December 27th, 1991, 4-year-old Nikki Campbell vanished while riding her tricycle near her home in Fairfield, California. Authorities suspect that the cases may be related. However, this has not been confirmed. In December 1992, Indiana prison inmate Roger Haggard told authorities he helped a friend bury Michaela's body in the Hunter Point area of San Francisco. He was taken to the area to help search for the body. However, after 8 hours of searching, he admitted that he made up the story to give her family peace of... How the fuck do you think that would actually help the family? To me, that's not helping. That's like the opposite of helping. That's like taking a fucking knife and just twisting it and twisting it and just... Family, peace of mind. 6.5 years later, 6.5 years were later added to his sentence for his false confession. God, it should have been fucking like 20 or 30 years. What? How the fuck do you rationalize, tell... I just don't understand. I just don't fucking understand. Like, he was also ordered to pay more than $6,000 to Sharon. Oh my god! Like, the more and more I'm thinking of this portion right here, the more and more I'm just getting pissed off. If it was me, oh my god, I would want to tear that guy's fucking head off. In July 2009, authorities closed Amber's case, identifying a convicted child killer, Curtis Dean Anderson, as her abductor and killer. He confessed to killing her shortly before his death in prison in 2007. The police investigated his confession and cannot find anything to refute it. However, many are skeptical that Anderson was actually responsible and her body has never been found. Wait, I'm kind of confused. Are they referring to Michaela's body, or are they referring to Amber's case? I'm a little bit confused with that. Let's see here. On August 26, 2009, another missing girl, J.C. Duggard, was found alive after being missing for 18 years. She had been abducted at the age of 11 while walking to her school bus stop in Myers, California. On June 10th, 1991, her abductors were Oh, okay. Okay, the date here was when she was walking to the... Okay, never mind. Her abductors were sex offender Philip Garrido and his wife Nancy of Antioch, California. Shortly after JC's recovery, Michaela's case was reopened as police looked for links between her and Garrido. Garrido's home is about an hour's drive from the market. He was released from prison for rape and kidnapping 3 months before Michaela's abduction. A car resembling the one driven by Michaela's abductor was found on his property. His appearance in 1988 also matched that of Michaela's abductor. Hold on. See here. Katrina also noted similarities between him and the abductor. Furthermore, there were similarities between Michaela's and JC's abductions. He was interviewed by the police about Michaela's case, but denied being involved in it. No other evidence was found to connect him to it, and he was later eliminated as a suspect. In February 2012, convicted serial killer Wesley Germantine wrote a letter to the Stockton Record, stating that he believes his former serial killer partner, Lauren Herzog, was responsible for Michaela's abduction. Herzog committed suicide in January 2012. In the letter, Germantine, however you pronounce this fucking name, noted that Herzog's family lived near Hayward, and that he bore a striking resemblance to the composite sketch of Michaela's abductor. Katrina also believed that he bore a resemblance to the abductor. Shermantine led authorities to a well where he and Herzog allegedly dumped the bodies of several victims inside. They found the remains of Kimberly, Billy, and Joan Hobson, who had been missing since the 1980s. Other bones were found that were believed to be Michaela's. Oh, jeez. However, DNA testing later ruled this out. Shoes similar to the ones Michaela was wearing were also found in one of the wells. However, it was not determined if they were actually hers or not. On December 21st, 2020, the Hayward Police Department and FBI announced that 59-year-old suspected serial killer David Emery Misch had been charged with Michaela's murder, with special circumstances, murder during the commission of a kidnapping and with the prior murder murder conviction. Jesus Christ. Trying to read this, I get a little bit confused. Misch, how do you pronounce his fucking name, had been in prison since 1989 when he was arrested for the murder of 36-year-old Margaret Ball. In December, she was found stabbed to death in her Hayward home. In 1990, he was convicted of her murder and sentenced to 18 years to life in prison. What's the fucking point of... That's one thing I don't get. Like, I've heard of the reason that they say life is like 25 years or some shit like that. Why do you need to put like a number at the end of it? To me, when I hear life, when I hear somebody say you have life in prison, that's it. That when they say life in prison, that means that until the day you fucking die, you should be in prison. The day you die, that's life. But from what I understand, from what I've heard, well, life is technically like 25 years. Well, Howard, it should not be like that. It's just if you've been sentenced to life, it's fucking life. Not some 25 years, and we're just gonna. 25 years is a long time. We'll just say life. Yeah. No, life should be until the day you fucking die. In 2018, he was charged with the 1986 murders of 18-year-old Michelle Xavier and 20-year-old Jennifer Dewey. They had been abducted and were later found stabbed and shot to death in Fremont. DNA linked him to their murders, which he was awaiting trial for when he was charged in Michaela's case. Jesus, this is actually a little bit longer than I thought it would be. Earlier in 2020, Fremont police, after investigating Mish for Michelle and Jennifer's murders, flagged him as someone who should be looked into in connection with Michaela's abduction. A Hayward fingerprint examiner was given a list of suspects, including Mish, to compare to the unidentified finger and palm prints on Michaela's scooter. Mish's prints were a match. The police noted that Mish also matched the abductor's description: white male, 27, 6 foot, slim, muscular build, shoulder-length blonde or brown hair, and blue eyes. Two witnesses who were at the market shortly before the abduction reported seeing a man sitting in a car in the parking lot. Both witnesses picked Mish. I really wish if I knew how to pronounce his name better. Out of a photo lineup as the man they had seen. Before he was charged, the detectives tried to interview him about Michaela's case, but he refused to speak to them without an attorney. You know what it means, in my opinion, when you need to have an attorney? It means you're a little bit guilty. If you're innocent, why do you need an attorney? He also refused to let them take his fingerprints or DNA. Ooh, well, we got something there, ladies and gentlemen. Why would somebody refuse to let his fingerprints or DNA be acquired? Sadly, Michaela's remains have not yet been found. Mish is currently awaiting trial for Michaela's murder and the 1986 murders. If convicted in either case, he could receive the death penalty. It isn't even a matter if he could receive. He should receive. To me, like I've mentioned this several times before, I believe in the idea of eye for an eye. You take a life, you forfeit your life. The only time you should be able to take a life and not suffer consequences, if you're like defending somebody, let's say you're walking down the street, you see a woman brutally attacking a guy, and you can tell that she's going to kill the guy. And let's say the guy was innocent, for example. You should have that right to defend that person, with the same amount of force that is being used upon him. So if she's trying to kill him, kill her. You should have the right to protect somebody, For years, Michaela's mother, Sharon, maintained a blog dedicated to her daughter. Sadly, in May 2022, she passed away from breast cancer. Okay, let's see here. What do we have here? Okay, let's see here. There's a lot of stuff here. Okay, well, there's a lot of links here, but nothing that I really look at. But you can find all of this stuff in Michaela's Unsolved Mystery, the wiki, and I always post a link to the wiki in the description below, so you can always come here to to read up on it. But this was actually a longer case than I thought it was. I thought I could read this and be done within a few minutes, but no, this actually went quite a while. Holy cow! But that was the sad case of Michaela Garecht. As much as I want to see her be alive, and people say, well, J.C. Dugard, or Dugard, how do you pronounce her name? She was alive. Yeah, there are times that people are found alive, but it's not that often. And as much as I want to see this girl be alive, I can't help but think that honestly, she's passed away. She's passed away, and I honestly don't. I refuse to want to keep thinking that people are alive when logic, is kind of telling you that they're gone. Basically, because if you hope that they're alive, it's just going to prolong your agony and everything. And I can't think like that, you know. But that is it. That's the case of Michaela Garecht. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with my final thoughts.
That's right, and as we enter summer, what better place to shop for your next car or truck than the Monterey Peninsula Auto Center? The Monterey Peninsula Auto Center is your one-stop auto shopping center on the Central Coast. With over 3,000 new and used cars and trucks to choose from in one convenient location, you can't afford to shop anywhere else. From Highway 1, take the Sand City Seaside exit and look for the towers. The Monterey Peninsula Auto Center, where a beautiful drive will get you a great deal now.
Okay, it's time for my final thought, and I'm not sure exactly how I really want to talk, how to do this final thought. This is like the third cut I've done of this portion of the video. It's like part of me wants to, say that the parents needed to keep better track of their child, but I don't have a child. So it's not like even if I had a child, it's not my position to tell, Michaela's parents that they were right or wrong. It's not my job. I can just give you my opinion, But this is like one of those things. It's like, and I feel bad for her parents because like, it's kind of like a lose-lose situation if you really think about it. There's a chance, they let her go, and sadly she was abducted. They don't let her go, and she could end up having resentment for her parents. Like I said, it's just lose-lose. It's so hard to really. I'm not sure exactly how to really kind of talk about do this portion. I'll help if I even had the right one. Hold on. There you go. Final thoughts there. It's hard, It's like, the one thing I do feel bad for her parents. Nobody should lose their child like this. And the fact that she's been gone for so long and there's been no closure, that makes it even worse. Do you let your child go? Do you let them spread their wings with the risk of what could happen? Or do you clamp down on them and, you basically enforce the rules? Like, I'm not sure exactly, what the correct way to handle it is. I don't have a kid, so I don't know, But what I do know is, whatever the outcome is for Michaela, the family deserves closure. The family deserves closure, and right now, they don't have that. The one person they have, who they have currently, that David Misch, he's not fucking saying anything. He's not saying anything, and I'll make you a bet he knows more than what he's not saying. But, ultimately, the goal, my goal is to get this video out, and hopefully somebody may know something or have heard something when they were, from years ago. That could it may just be just that little bit of information that can help everybody, But yeah, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can really say. I hope one day she's located. If anything, the family deserves closure, Okay, so we are moving on from the Michaela Garecht case, and it is time to talk about what the next installment is of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. I present to you the case of Jim and Kathy Tatum. This is also known as the Tatum House. If you are into the paranormal or supernatural, you will want to see this case. I have a different opinion about this case, but I will talk more about that when, I go to read this case to everyone. Here is just a quick rundown of what it is. Basically, Jim and Kathy Tatum, I think they had a house built, or they bought a new house. They moved into a house. Let's say they moved into a house. And they've been suffering from disturbances. It is believed that they are being haunted by a poltergeist. And I have the little promo for the case, so here it is.
In Atlanta, Georgia, the peaceful retirement of an elderly couple has been and shattered by unexplained noises and apparitions.
Okay, so that was a pretty quick promo. I wish there was more, but that's all there was. But yeah, so now, I want to say thank you to everyone who has taken the time to watch this video. It means a lot to me, ladies and gentlemen. This video actually, or this case reading, I'll be honest, I got a little bit upset. It was to the point I had to kind of take a step back. And it was basically due to that, and I think you know what portion I'm talking about. It's that, oh God, let's see. It was that, I think it was that Roger Haggard person. He basically said that he knew about Michaela, but come to find out he was just trying to give the family peace of mind. And it's like, what kind of fucked up person would do something like that? I ended up having to, like I said, to stop reading for a moment and take a drink, because I was getting upset. That seriously pissed me the fuck off. But this case is, done. We are now moving on to the next case, and sadly, I wish I could stay and talk about every one of these cases forever, but I can't. As always, if you like what you watched, feel free to click on the buttons based on where you're watching this. Subscribe for YouTube, like, follow for Facebook, and you'll be alerted when I release new content. I will see you next time for the next installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.
Burdix and Fisher team up to present exciting sights and sounds, a special savings event going on now at the Burdix showroom near you. Look for this insert in your newspaper this week for the dozens and dozens of Fisher stereo and video deals from Burdix, like this. Fisher Go Anywhere AM/FM cassette deck with detachable speakers, $79. Burdix has the big sounds with this complete Fisher component system, $499 while they last. See it all with this Fisher VCR with wireless remote, just $338 this week during Burdix exciting sights and sound sale at all 5 Monterey Bay Area locations.